Today we are going to talk about revamping your CV to make job applications easier. So thank you for everyone who has joined in this page. As I've said, it's lawyers helping each other, where me and other lawyers share their journey, their opinions, with the hope of helping other lawyers. So as like most of you who have followed this page for some time now, you know that for me, I'm more focused on the self-employment journey because I'm a self-employed advocate. That's why I thought it's better I'd be inviting people who are on the other areas. And law, as you know, is very wide. There are people like who are in the judiciary, there are people who are in the NGO world, in the corporate world. So, and all of them differ in different ways. So that's why today I've decided to bring in someone who is mostly in the international sector. I've just accepted her request. I hope she's going to join us soon, Dorcas Nyambura, and also she's there. Finally, hi.
Hi.
You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I can also hear you. So I was introducing what the topic of today is going to be: revamping your CV to make job applications easier. And I was also stating the way, for me, I'm more of on the self-employed side. So that's why I'm inviting other people in the other sectors, because law is very wide. It's very wide. So at least now, so today we are going to focus mostly on the CV, upgrading your CV. That's why we've invited you. So for those, I'm going to introduce our guest for today. Apart from her being my very good friend, she's Dorcas Gitonga. She has worked mostly in the international NGO sectors and also in the legal sectors as a legal officer and a programming officer. She's currently working with Kelly as a programming officer. So we're going to. So Dorcas, you can take over.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ruth. I'm so excited to be here. This is my first live ever, and I'm so happy to be here. I keep telling people this is like the Ellen of lawyers, you know. So I'm excited. If you don't follow Ruth on her YouTube page, I'm sure you should follow her so you understand. She has very good content. She has very nice guests on her channel. So I'm honored to be part of the guest today. And so, Ruth, thank you for having me. And I think the reason why she brought me on board, as she said, is because I'm more into the employment sector. I've been employed ever since I got admitted to the bar. This is my 5th year of practice. And all along, I've been in the NGO field, NGO world, you know, as legal officer, in-house counsel, and even as a program officer doing programs. Currently, I work with Kelly as a program officer in charge of the sexual reproductive health program. And I'm excited to, you know, share with people, because as Ruth would mention, none of us is a HR expert, but I think for me, I'd want to share what has worked for me. And if it has worked for me, then I'm sure it may work also for other young lawyers, people who are looking for entry-level positions at such corporate, you know, NGO or such field. So so I think to start with, I can say why it is important to have a good CV, because, you know, having a good CV, like your CV is the first thing the recruiter will see, and that is like your introduction to the recruiter. Even before they get to know you, they will form an opinion based on your CV. They will call you for an interview based on your CV, or they will fail to call you for an interview based on your CV.
So, yes, that's true.
Yeah, it's very true. Yeah. It's important to have a good CV, because that's the first thing that the recruiter will look at when they're making the decision of whether or not to get you on board. And one of the ways, so now because we are talking about how then to make your CV admirable and good for the recruiter, one of the ways, and Ruth had mentioned this in one of her stories, there are websites that help you do that. Yeah, and there are many websites right now. If you want to online and search CV, how to make my CV, Google Twibo, it will bring you a whole list.
Yes.
Yeah, and so for me, I can only share about what I have used and what has worked for me, and therefore that could be useful to somebody else. So when you search, there is one called My Perfect CV. So you can Google myperfectcv.co.uk. That one, it's very nice. I'll give you a story of how I got to know about it. Is my friend, and you see, because we are not reinventing the wheel here. If it has worked for somebody else, even me, I just followed what, because it worked for my friend. So he saw this job advert on a recruiters, the HR firms that purely do recruiting. It's called Summit Recruitment. And so he saw the job advert there. And then he went online to search, how do I make my CV admirable, because they're advertising for an international NGO. And the recruiters...
Dorcas, just a minute. We lost you for a moment. We lost you for a moment.
Oh, pole. Yes. All right.
You can just start from the friend who introduced you to that website.
Oh, pole sana. I think because of tuko nyumbani sasa tunatumia internet. So
yes.
Yeah. So my friend used this. He used that website that I'm going to tell you how it works. I just wanted to say how it worked for him, because the recruiters called him and told him, "Oh my God, your CV is the most unique CV we've ever seen, and it's so nice. And that way we want you to come on board." And long story short, he got the job. And because I saw it work for him, I was like, even me, I want to see how it works. So it's called My Perfect CV. I think I'll write it down here. And how it works, when you log in into that page, you choose a template that you want to use. It has many templates. Hata kuna moja ni unaweka your beautiful picture, the one you look like a lawyer like this. You can choose just a nice professional picture that you can put there, or you can choose not to. There are many templates. There are very many. No, it's myperfectcv.co.uk, not KE.
.uk, not KE, sorry. So I'll make that correction.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry.
So,
okay,
Roots tutengeneza. So when you log into it, has many templates. So you can choose a template that speaks more to you, because maybe you're the kind of person who wants something very simple. They have very simple CVs. Maybe you're the extra one who wants your picture there. There is that for you. Very nice professional templates. So then they ask you if you want to make a completely new CV, or you want to make one that is more, you already have one and you want to revamp it. So you could choose either you make it completely new, or you just revamp one that you have. And then when you go online, they tell you now to input maybe your work details. And for those who are here, maybe, if they only have volunteer, you can just put in your volunteers. And something good about it is that it guides you. For instance, if you're a legal officer, it gives you, the system already knows the work of a legal officer. So it recommends for you like 8 or 9 roles. And then the role, for instance, for legal officer, what do you review contracts, you ensure compliance. So it can guide you. It tells you maybe you reviewed dash number of policies, and due to that you improved efficiency of the organization by 65%. Because recruiters want to improve the efficiency, and they want measurable output. So so I think one good thing about that website is that it guides you on how to put in what you have done. So some people where they work, they don't even have clear JDs. So even when they are making their CV, they don't know what to write on the JD. For instance, there are law firms which don't give.
Just a minute. For people who might not know, who are new to the employment field, you can explain like a JD in full.
Oh, sorry. Job description. Job description. In places where they work, they don't have a very clear job description. And so when you're making your CV, you don't even know what to write, what you've been doing. Now you only remember 2 things, and all the 2 things are not sufficient for your CV. So, but when you go online on that website, it actually clearly recommends for you, if you're a program officer or you're looking for a job for a program officer, it tells you what a program officer does. So it even guides you, okay, so you did ABCD, you wrote dash proposals, like that. So somebody is still asking what the website is. That's My Perfect CV. You can just Google My Perfect CV.
Yeah, and we will link the website here at the live, so that at least you can go and check it out.
Yeah. So, and then aside from recommending to you the details about maybe output about the work you've done. Now you then input maybe your educational qualifications, it gives you that. And then after that, now the skills, it recommends to you the skills which are most needed for your job. Come on, now it's a legal officer. The most important skills are maybe legal research, legal writing, such things. So it recommends for you skills that you can input in your CV that will make you more desirable to employers looking for a legal officer. Yeah. So and then another thing I can mention about such a website, which is important, is once you create now a template CV, since you may get a website, you've made your template CV. When you want to maybe apply for a job, it allows you to copy paste the job description of the job you're applying to the website, and then it measures your how you put into that job. If I'm applying to maybe the UN for a position of legal officer, I go and copy paste the whole advertisement for that job onto the website, and then see my CV is already maybe loaded onto that website. Then it saves it and it tells me, oh, based on their you're only maybe a 65% fit, and then it now guides you on how to improve your fit, your fitness, how to be more, to how to align your CV more so that it's more desirable and it aligns more with that job description. So it highlights for you, maybe you didn't mention much about legal research yet, the job description focus more on research, so it highlights for you that maybe highlight more on research. And then again, after you've done maybe the corrections, you sieve it through the system again, it tells you now you're an 80% match. 80 is good. Then you can now put in your CV. It also has the provision of the cover letter. Yeah, so the cover letter, so now when you input the JD's job description, when you input the JD of the job you're applying to, it gives you a provision of revamping your CV to match that job, and now doing a cover letter that matches that job, which is really good, I think. I mean, the problem with seekers is that sometimes we are lazy to align our CV with the new job. So you keep sending the same CV and you don't get called because you're not a match. You didn't put it to be a match. So somebody I see just asked about the cover letter. So the system also allows you to create a cover letter that matches the CV and the JD of the job you're applying to. Yeah. And so what else can I mention about it? So and because even for legal officers, for lawyers, even for non-lawyers, maybe sometimes, like for me as a lawyer, because I have worked both as a legal officer and as a programs officer, so sometimes I find myself applying for legal officer jobs or program officer jobs. So when I get into the system, sometimes I forget maybe I'm applying for legal officer and I'm applying for programs, and yet I'm putting in a legal officer job. So it tells me you're a 25% match, and I have to say, okay, now it helps you be aware that you're not using the correct CV. Your CV is not matching this job that you're applying to. It guides you. And
because just a minute, so you may find sometimes you're applying a lot of jobs, but those are the mistakes you're making. So this website comes in to curb that part where you are making that mistake.
Yes, exactly. It helps you to, first of all, align. When you copy paste the job description of the job, it helps you to align your CV. It helps you know whether you are a good match for that role. Because some jobs, again, it takes, like UN jobs, it can take you a whole day to apply, and maybe if you just ran the JD through the system, you just know you are a 15% match. Therefore, you don't have to take the whole day. Just being realistic with yourself. But so I feel like that's a good thing. Okay, let me just mention that it's not a free website.
Someone who asked, is it free? So at least you're answering that question.
Even me, when I started using it, I saw the payment option after I finished everything, and now I can't. But for me, it's a worthy investment, I would say. It charges, if you want a monthly, which I think is most appropriate for people who are actively job searching, because if you're actively job searching, you're sending almost, 4 jobs in a week or something, or 3 jobs in a week. And if it can help you all that, and at the end of the month, you pay around 2,000 Kenyan shillings, for me, I think it's a worthy investment. Being that I have explored many options, I have asked some renowned or famous, HR specialists there are charges for revamping your CV, and it can go to even up to 15,000 to 20,000 for one job. So if this one allows you, like you pay a monthly charge of around 2,000 to 2,500 per month, and during the month you can apply as many jobs as you can, I feel like that's a worthy investment. And for those who don't want maybe a monthly charge, it charges, I think, 600 for one.
Per month.
If you just want,
for one CV.
yeah, if you just want once, which I feel like maybe for somebody who just wants to make once, and that's it.
But that doesn't make economic sense unless maybe it doesn't.
Yeah.
So, and is it possible, like for instance, if maybe for people, because people are looking for employment, we find they don't have the finances, can like 3 people come together, contribute that 2,000 and use that same website?
Yeah, like I think for the one I was using, we were using it around 4 people. We pay. So okay, somebody paid and then we jumped on it. But for the next month, we contributed and we paid for it. And you can do as many as you can in the month that you are subscribed to. So I feel like it's such a worthy investment. For me, yeah, I think we have to make that investment, if especially you're really looking and you're really looking to change. Yeah, I think it's such a worthy investment.
Yeah, because now you may find the reason you're not getting those calls back after making the application is because of just some mistakes that website would have saved you.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I think 4 people can come together, you remove 500 each and you pay for that website. I think that is a fair investment.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like even if probably the one I know of is that one and it's paid, but if somebody is really, really pressed with the finances, they may do a little bit more research. Maybe there are those which are free, maybe there are those which you don't have to pay for. Yeah, and I feel like if you really want it, and now that you know there's such website, the first thing is that maybe people didn't know there's such a thing, there's such website which do that. So now that you know, now you can do more research. Maybe there are those that are free, but at least for me, I know this one has worked and I can recommend it.
Yeah, because it has worked for you.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and there's someone who has we will save the video after this. We're going to save this video.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yes.
So then I can talk about another way of revamping it. The one is the website, obviously. The one we just talked about. The other one is using HR specialists. We are lawyers. We don't know much about it. We really can't, but people know that is their job. Yeah. I can recommend a lady, because let me just say this. You see, for the one I just talked about, for the CV, the website, it's most desirable for when it's a human being looking at your CV. And this, let me explain. There are jobs, there are NGOs and there are companies who use a tracking system, like an applicant application system, where you upload what do you do? You like upload your CV online, and then the system is on which shortlist. There's no human being involved at the first step. So if it's a human being, for instance, these jobs that just say, send your CV via email, that one most probably is the HR who's looking at your CV. That one is most desirable to use the website, because the CV that comes from the website is very aesthetic. It's very nice. I told you when my friend used it, the recruitment firm called him and said it's so unique. So that's why it stood out. Yeah, but if you're using the system, this like UN and these other NGOs where you have to upload your CV, you have to use what we call the ATS friendly CV, applicant tracking system, ATS. So the ATS CV is very simple. In fact, if you looked at it, it looks plain. It doesn't have any
It's one page one.
It's exactly like a page or two. It's so simple, because the whole essence of it is so that when it's being scanned by the system, it's very easy for it to pick up a few things. Yeah. So for the ATS friendly CV, number one, you can use a specialist, a HR person, to help you make your CV ATS friendly, just by making it simple. You could go online and just Google ATS templates and use one of them to make it. But I think for me, I used a lady called Joanne. She's very affordable, I think. in my opinion, just because I know that the target would be people who are looking for entry-level positions, mid-level, such. So I think her charges comparably to others are a bit, and we can leave her contact here. So when you use, when then she makes the ATS friendly, you can have two CVs. One that now you can use for normal, for the people who want to send the email, and then for the ATS friendly for persons which are uploading, yeah, to NGOs. So I think that's another thing I ought to have mentioned, that you can have two for search for the two of them. Yeah. And I saw somebody asking, how do you know what type of CV to use? I feel like, number one, you can know if you just see the job is telling you to upload into a system and it has step by step. There are many HR, there's one called Bamboo HR. If you see any company using an online system to upload your CV, that means most probably they're using the same system to shortlist. So that's how I figure it out, like Bamboo, anyone using Bamboo HR, which is an HR system, and anyone, like, for instance, UN use the system, you actually have to log into the system to apply. But if somebody is saying maybe send your CV to this email or that, like that, most probably they're using humans to check. Okay. I also saw a question about how to pay on the
what's the payment method?
Yeah, for them they use the card. And well, I'm sure the data privacy issues and all that, but you can be, I think you can just be careful, just like all other online payment methods, because I feel like we also some of us use Uber or the card to pay on Uber and such.
Yeah, Uber, yes.
The same precautions you take are the same ones you take here, either by ensuring that you don't use your normal usual card that has all your money, maybe having one for online payments or something, but the mode of payments is card.
Yeah, but also, by the way, I think KCB has introduced a prepaid card where you load. So I think that's normally, I think it's the best for using online. So for instance, for this one, if you want to pay 2,000, you just load 2,000 on the card and you put it on online. So at least you'll avoid, instead of putting your normal account, which is risky. Because I've been a victim to that LinkedIn has showed me that where they can take you, maybe for you made an ad for 3,000, then they take like 20,000. So don't use your normal account, like your business or personal account. Then there's another question: how do you know of such vacancies in organizations?
Oh, okay. Now I feel like when you're a job seeker, you really have your ears and eyes wide open like this. But I remember this is advice was given by my mentor, Patience Nyangi, when I was an intern. She gave me, at the time she called a HR person to come and talk to us, and the HR person recommended, I think, 3 job searching websites, especially if you're searching for international NGOs. One is called Relief Web, and then there's wait, I can remember them, Ruth, and then maybe you can put them in your stories.
Yes, I'm going to share them in the stories. Yes.
And even for Kenyan jobs, or even on those Kenyan places they post even the international one, we have Fuzu, which I think is the most common, My Job Mark and such. But there's UN JobNet, and if you're looking for UN jobs, I'm sure on their, you keep on checking their career website. And but I think generally I can put up the list and share with you, Ruth, where you can share. And even just looking at the recruitment firms I was talking about, my friend just logged online to Summit Recruitment page, and they saw the jobs that they had advertised. So I feel like it's really I can share the list, but also just hearing from people. You hear this one got a job on Summit, you're like, okay, I must log to that Summit. Even LinkedIn, yes. Actually I've talked about LinkedIn, which I think I should talk about at this point, is also a very good job searching engine. If you're out there and you're really actively looking for a job, you should, like the lady who I mentioned, Joanne, the one that made my ATS friendly. She also recommended that I revamp also my LinkedIn. which was helpful, very helpful. Of course, I'm not there yet, and I'm still, taking in what. For instance, she said you should have like a professional picture. Basic things. Have a professional.
Not
picture.
an Instagram picture.
Yeah, not your selfie that you took. Just have a the one that people look at and they're like, yeah, this one looks like somebody we can work with. And then aside from that, updating what you have done, because now that's the only way recruiters can know if you're a good fit for their jobs. Updating, if you go for activities and you do all these things, update them there. LinkedIn also has a part that says open to work. So, when recruiters are searching, they need to know that you're open for jobs. So, and that part is only seen, I think, by recruiters. So you don't have to worry about your current employer seeing that you're searching for work on LinkedIn. You're there using the company's internet. They want to know. It's just recruiters. Yeah. And so I don't know if I should say one more thing. But one thing I know is that for you to have another tip of revamping your CV is having a rich CV. Because even if you have such a beautiful, aesthetic CV, but it has not much, you're not enriching your CV by ensuring that you're volunteering. If you're working somewhere, you're taking courses that make you more marketable, then your CV will only be beautiful but not really enriching for recruiters who want to get you on board. So, for instance, if you want to be in the corporate world as a legal officer, I see Joy is here, and my friend, she's here, and one of the things is, for instance, having CPS, because now you're positioning yourself for that space. So if you enrich your CV to ensure that you have such qualifications, if you're in the NGO field, you may look into project management, monitoring and evaluation, learning a foreign language, which can make you more marketable. So I feel like that is, in fact, one of the most important parts of revamping your CV, enriching it so that then you're more marketable and you're more, you're out there. People say, "Hey, something like that." So
Regarding that, I would want to ask, what if, let's say, you're doing CPS and you're in maybe is it section, maybe you've done section 1, section 2, you're maybe in section 3. Does it also help when you place it in your CV, or it's better you put courses that you're done, something that you're already done with?
No, I think you could put there even ongoing, because it shows that like, for instance, I'd say some jobs require you to have a master's, to have completed a master's. But the mere fact that at least they see you, of course, this is not to encourage anyone to be a career student. You're only saying, oh, I am pursuing my... But if you actually feel pursuing it and you have the documents to show, you can put it there. It could make you, probably you're the only person who has that, and now other people didn't put it because they've not finished, but they say, okay, at least we wanted a master's, but at least this one is ongoing, we can have them on board. So there's no harm. I feel like there's no harm. You'd rather put it there and they don't use it, rather than not putting it there and thinking that then they disqualify you on that basis. Yeah.
I'm seeing a question here.
Yeah.
I'm seeing number 3 first. Let me ask this number 3, because I think there are 3 questions. Number 3 is, how do you know how much money to ask during an interview?
Well, I'd say this: do a lot of research depending on the field that you're in. Even in the NGO field, if you can ask around, you'll probably you won't be so far. If you asked 3 or 4 people who work in that field, and even if you know nobody, if you just went online and searched maybe Save the Children, if you're applying to Save the Children officer, something, and then first of all, searching, and then there's this website called Glassdoor, like glass, na mlango, Glassdoor.
Okay.
So on Glassdoor they have if you just searched, if you go to Glassdoor and then search salaries for Save the Children, they have them actually, because many people ask those questions. And so even if it's an NGO that maybe nobody, or it's a company who nobody has ever asked on Glassdoor, you can know the range. If you're a legal officer in a similar place earns X amount, then you can easily, but I think research is the most important. If not, you yourself, you can just rate yourself and say, how much would I be comfortable? How much would I feel properly remunerated? There's, of course, risk of quoting too high, but if for real you're reasonable and you ask around people who are in similar positions, you won't be so far. You won't be so far from.
But so you don't also undervalue yourself.
Yeah, and then undervaluing because you may think, if they quote too high, they won't pick me. But then you quote that small amount, they pick you, and then you go when you're employed, you find out you're being paid the least is there, and then you're.
For instance, in a firm, you find you're an advocate and you're being paid almost the same amount as a person who's in holding over a pupil. Exactly. You sold yourself short. So, there's another question. How did you decide on what job best suits you? Because maybe they're on that stage, they're not sure, like, because law, you can decide to go to a law firm, go self-employment, or go to the NGO judiciary. So for why did you decide NGO?
I think for me is from where I went, my pupillage. Okay, for me I'd say it's my journey because my pupillage I did at KNCHR, the Commission on Human Rights. And from there, I got this passion for advocacy and human rights advocacy. And ever since, my path has followed that route. So for somebody else, it would be probably the first job you applied to was a legal officer at a manufacturing company. And then you got it. Or a legal assistant at a manufacturing company. And then you got it. And when you are there, you just enjoyed working there. And for that reason, you found yourself taking that line. So I think it varies from one person to the other. It could be that's what your hands want to do at the time, and therefore you develop that interest. For other people, I think they develop the interest way like in campus. They just enjoy insurance law, and from then they're like, that's what I want to do. But I think it varies from one person to another. For me, it's what the job I found at the time, and I enjoyed doing it, and I don't see it much as a job, more like passion. Yeah.
But there's a time you were saying with a friend, the way what you do after KSL, chances are very that's what you will do for life. Or something that you'll be more interested in. Because also like for me, I went to a firm that mostly does conveyancing, and I started just having interest in conveyancing.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think also you should look at your interest, because it doesn't mean if you leave KSL and you go to a conveyancing firm and you don't like conveyancing and you prefer litigation. I think also look at where your interest lies.
Exactly. Like I'd say, let me also talk about my brother. My brother is also in the legal field, but him, when he got the job he got at the time in a profit-making company, he saw a gap in data protection law, and so he just did courses. He was just interested in this new Data Protection Act, and so due to that, he's just talking and he's hearing me talking about it. So due to that, he got the interest in data protection, and for that reason, now he's in the data protection field as a data protection officer. So I feel like sometimes it could be what you want to do. It could be a new thing that you find interesting in the field, and you do research and you're like, hey, this one I want to know more about it, and just your interest is sparked like that, and now that's what you do. So yeah, I think really interest, and sometimes you're thrown into a field which you knew nothing about, and when you're there, you're like, this is what I'd love to do. Yeah.
Maybe you enjoy getting to understand it, doing research on it. Yeah. So there's also another question. How do you prepare before and during the interview?
Wow. Okay, that one is very key. My key has always been to read for interviews as if I'm reading for an exam. Like just really doing a lot of research. The same way I would wake up to read for my exams, I think is the same way I prepare. And online, I've found a lot of help online also. YouTube videos. Actually, there's everything on YouTube.
Make YouTube your friend.
And those videos, they are 1 hour when I'm working on, and that has helped me, especially because in the NGO field, the questions are almost, because they will definitely ask you what do they call those questions that test your ability to solve problems and all that. Those ones are a bit standard, like how do you work well in a team? in a conflict situation, how would you deal with it, things like that. So I think for me, I found help in doing a lot of research online, reading about that specific job. And and I think it's not just for NGOs, because I've also done interviews for the JSC, which is government, and for that one also you read like you're reading for an exam, like you're reading for oral exams. You read everything. Yeah, so preparation, how to prepare is to prepare about the specific JD, the job description, and aptitude. Yes, exactly. Somebody said aptitude, even those nature. Yeah, so really reading about the specific job where you're going to do, because they want to know, if it's for lawyers, the laws regarding the area of practice you're going to be doing. And then aside from that, now just preparing yourself for this aptitude, just knowing. Hey, and even like for you, when it's really it's crazy. You really just have to. I did one for WFP, that's the World Food Program, which is a UN agency, and my goodness, that one. In fact, if anyone is planning to do a UN interview, there is so much. Also, you can find a lot of information online about how to prepare for such interviews, what questions to prepare for. Yeah.
Okay. And then there's one.
Mm-hmm.
What if you have limited experience? By the way, this is now I think this is where a lot of women fall. You see someone sends you, you find friends sending you application, but some you look at it and you're like, I don't think I qualify for this. I feel I'm so limited to apply for this. Mm-hmm. So have you ever found yourself in such situations, and have you worked around it?
Mm-hmm. I think for sure, the fact is there will always be jobs that you're underqualified for, and there will always be jobs for where you are. Even me as an entry-level person at the time, there were jobs that fit my qualifications at the time. 0 to 2 years experience. Many jobs are entry-level, which require very minimal experience. So I feel like maybe what would stress you is because you're looking at jobs mid-level and you're thinking, now these ones, they require 3 to 4 years experience. But the truth is, if honestly you're seriously job searching for entry level, even like most of these job is the ones I'm talking about, like UN JobNet, even Fuzu has the part where it asks you 0 to 2 years, junior level, something. So when you customize it and say you want 0 to 2 years, it brings up a whole list of jobs which match your qualifications at the time, because they are alive to the fact that not everybody has 5 years. Even them, they want entry level people at the time. So I feel like if you have limited experience, instead of stressing yourself applying for jobs which you might probably get no's for, and it may discourage you, if you could focus more on the jobs that have that. There are so many, by the way. Even like for UN, it has, what's the name of UNVs? I know UNVs, UN volunteers, which pays very well. And those ones require actually 0 experience. And you just log in, put in your CV, and they consider you. And not just UNV, even other ones which look for assistance, entry-level positions. So if you position yourself to be for such jobs, and a time will come, it's only now that you have limited experience. 2-3 years from now, you'll be very qualified for mid-level and all that. So it's just understanding, like even me right now, I do not have the experience of a 15-year advocate. I have 5 years post-admission. So even me, I am alive to the fact that if I applied for a job of 15-20 years, I will not qualify. So, and I know I will get there. So pali niko saizi, ninakubali na nina apply for jobs which I know I'm best suited for. And I make sure that my CV fits perfectly for positions that are of people of my experience. Of course, don't disqualify yourself fully and say, these ones have said 3 years. You could try your luck, because some of them said 3 years, and when they say 3 years, they're looking at people of entry level. So it's trying your luck, but being realistic. That is the key. Be realistic. Don't again, be too, because you'll be discouraged and you'll feel bad.
Yeah, so there is also one interesting question. What will you advise someone joining law school to avoid gaps in the CV? Like, what will you tell your younger self So what would you tell your younger self concerning how to help you avoid the gaps that you in your CV?
Yeah. I think I would volunteer more. I'd advise them to volunteer more, especially during the long holidays. If the person is in a public university like the one me and Ruth went to, we would close for 4 months, 5 months.
We go for
Lecturers
strike.
here for 6 months. But number one, I'd say try and volunteer so to cover those gaps.
Yeah.
But secondly, don't be too hard on yourself. Because there are people who will not volunteer, but they'll take that time to do short courses. They will do CPS during that time of long holiday. They will probably, enroll for some courses, and therefore any person can check your CV and tell, okay, they were reading during that time. So if you're able to volunteer, please do so. If not, don't be too hard on yourself. I don't think recruiters, yes, are a bit tough, but not unrealistic. They're also human beings. Yeah, they were once interns, they were once entry level, and they know that these things happen. You are young and you are in school, so I feel like don't be too hard on yourself. Try if you can, try, but at least account for your time. If you're not volunteering, at least take a short course. Don't just let that time pass you by, so that at least you can be able to explain that you are studying.
Yeah, and at least at that point your parents or your guardians will pay for that, because you don't have to pay it for yourself at the end of the but I think also I think the best thing is also taking courses. That will really help, because you'll find by the end you already have CPSK, but nowadays it's certified secretary, CSK or CPA. You can also do CPA. Remember, for you did a diploma when you were in ESL, which has helped you in the NGO world. You did, I think it was project management.
Exactly, it was in project management, and it has helped me. No recruiter asks me what I was doing. They at least they can see the diploma in project management helps me. Yeah. Exactly.
So you either do the short courses, do internships, you do whatever, because if you're applying for internships and you're not getting it, you can decide to don't spend the whole time trying to focus on that. You can decide to do the short courses. Or volunteer somewhere. There's also volunteering, maybe Red Cross or these NGOs. So there's a question I can see here. Would you consider internship, volunteer, or privilege experience as job experience?
Yes, very, very much so. In fact, the website I'm talking about, I remember our mentor with Ruth. Hey, she told us any experience is valid experience. Anything you do is valid. Please put it there. Because when you're talking about, if they want 3 years experience, and you've just finished law school, where will you get 3 years experience? Of course, if you have courses and all that, because tulijaribu tu with our courses and with the small volunteership we did, and we were able to get them. So those volunteers is what will help you, because you gain some form of experience in those spaces. And I remember, like Ruth, hopefully one day we'll bring our other friends on board. Very, very insightful friends. They've done so much. And our friend Amy, when we were in law school, she did French. And you know how French is marketed locally in the NGO field, because most NGOs, work in Africa, and Africa is Anglophone, Francophone, etc. And so at the time, because her interest was not in CPS and all that, don't be too hard on yourself. Now everybody's doing CPS, and you don't like CPS. Now you're like, no, I want to do. She found her passion in learning a language, which is very helpful, So you can just find something that you would love doing. Yeah.
So and then you'll find a way of making it work for you in your legal career.
Exactly.
And it can be a bonus. So there's also another question here. How do you maneuver if you get a job that you feel you're inexperienced and don't know the loops yet, or maybe you just decide to be confident to apply for a job that you're not well qualified, but you're lucky enough to get it? How do you maneuver? Because of course you'll be there having having fear.
Yeah. But I feel like I don't think I know this, and I'm sure we'll read more about this thing of imposter syndrome. And I think that is what that is. You feel like, these guys, eventually they will find out that I'm a fraud. No, you're not a fraud, because there's a reason why they chose you. They advertise for that position. These days when you advertise for one position, almost 50 people apply. Out of the 50, they shortlisted 5. Out of the 5, you matched the best. There's obviously a reason why they chose you. Yeah, they chose you because of that specific skill that you have. So even when you get there, obviously being a new work environment, they don't expect you to just know things. That is why people have induction to tell you more about the job. So and you will do it because they chose you. And there were other 4 people who they cancelled 49 people for you. There's a reason why.
There's a reason why you are chosen, and there's a reason why you're there. And the other time, Michelle Obama was talking about imposter syndrome. She was saying the way we normally, like, if you go to these big board meetings or these places, we find that they're so prestigious. You find those people are not as smart as even you might think. You find even you are even the smartest in the room.
In the room, and you're there doubting. So I feel like my key there would be just fake it. And you fake it too, because you'll fake it until now now if you're new kabisa enye ukweli haujui kenye ina happening huko, now it's your chance to read more about it. If it's the legal field, there's nothing that is foreign, nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing that nobody has not written on. There's nothing that 101 articles are on. So you'll do your own research, have an opinion, and then now you're able to know what happens. Ask around. For instance, people who go to law firms and they've never done conveyancing, that's an ameingia pendo associate or conveyancing. Make use of the clerks. The clerks there will help you so much. If you're telling me about
clerks are the best because they understand everything.
Yeah. So ask around, and within a month or 2 of serious, asking around, you'll just be the expert in that room, and you'll know things. People won't know you went there knowing nothing. Yeah,
but I think the best thing is just know you are not there by mistake. There's a reason why you are there. So now prove to them that you're in the right position. Don't start doubting yourself.
Yeah.
And then
don't create doubt in them. Don't make them start thinking, okay, we made the wrong choice choosing this person. No. Even if you don't know, just pretend you just be like, okay, give me a minute. You see, even in law school we are taught, never tell a client you don't know. Just tell them,
never.
Give me a minute, I'm a bit held up. I'll get back to you. You can't tell even in the class you don't know. Yeah.
And the good thing, and the good thing with law, especially with law, there's no right answer. You can approach it in different ways.
Exactly. Yeah.